Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I'm making Spanakopita or Greek spinach pie. There's two ways to do it. One is where you make the little appetizer style triangles, and the other is where you make it as if it were your main course. And I love it for that because it's something different, you know, just kind of change things up, and it's delicious. So here's what I do, and these are the ingredients. I have 2 10-ounce bags of spinach, and what I did is I just wilted this and I squeezed the extra water out of it. So that's it for the spinach. Then I have 1 cup of ricotta cheese, which I've strained. You want to use whole milk cheeses when you do this. I have 4 scallions that have been chopped. This is some butter that I've melted, and in the butter I have pieces of half of a lemon. I just took this off with a vegetable peeler from half of a lemon. So the peel is at the bottom, steeping in the melted butter. I have 4 tablespoons of butter here, by the way, and this is 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. 3 sprigs of fresh dill, that's about 2 tablespoons, and it's been minced up. I've minced 3 cloves of garlic, and this is 1 ounce of cheese that I've grated on like a zester like this. That's why it looks so big, it's just fluffy. And half a teaspoon of black pepper, and then salt to taste. Oh, 3 eggs, can't forget the eggs, that's the binder. 1 pound of feta cheese. And then of course, the phyllo, and if you've never played around with phyllo, it's actually pretty cool. We'll get into that as we go, but this is what phyllo looks like. It's just these very thin, fine leaves of dough that you can see through. Beautiful. So 1 pound of phyllo dough, and you find that wherever you get your frozen puff pastry, it should be right next to the puff pastry. Okay, so here's how we put it together. All that I'm doing is I just want to do a couple of cuts through the spinach just so that it's easier to eat. The spinach goes into this big bowl with the ricotta cheese. I'm going to add the olive oil to the butter, and I'm doing that just because I like those flavors together. Now I have half of a lemon that I peeled to get that lemon flavor into my butter olive oil mixture. So the rest of this I'm just going to grate. That goes in. And just a tablespoon of this lemon juice. No seeds, good. So everything goes in here except for your oil butter mixture, the Romano cheese, the salt, and the eggs. And the reason for that is I'm holding off on the eggs until I taste this to see how much salt I want. When you buy feta cheese, you just want to make sure you're buying a sheep's milk feta. So now we're just mixing this all up. I'm going to taste this now before I put the eggs in. So if it needs anything, now's the time to add it. Eggs go in, you mix it again just to get those eggs in there. Then I'm just going to wash my hands and start with the phyllo. Well, I added my eggs to this. It didn't need any extra seasoning at all. It was delicious. And I forgot this. I have a little nutmeg in my pocket, and so I was going to add some to that. I forgot, it's fine, but that's another great addition. So what I'm going to do is take some of this butter oil mix with the lemon infused into it and just brush the bottom of this pan. And then I'm just going to take a few sheets. I'll go 3 sheets. And then 3 sheets on this side and overlap them slightly. If it tears, it doesn't matter at all. The reason that I do this is because the problem with Spanakopita is that it ends up with a soggy bottom, which is not very good. So I use this baking sheet rather than using a 9x13 pan, because that way the liquid that's going to exude from the spinach or the whole milk ricotta is not going to go through this and make a soggy bottom. So now I'm just going to brush the top of this, and I don't think you need to brush each and every layer. This works out just fine. Then on top, I'm just sprinkling some Romano cheese, and that's going to work kind of like a good glue. And then you do another 2 sheets on top of that. So that's 2 more sheets down. So now we have a total of 5. Take the butter, oil, infused lemon. And if you don't get it everywhere, that's fine. Remember, it's just glue, and like glue, you don't have to put this everywhere. Then another sprinkle of the Romano cheese. And then because we're using a half sheet pan, what I do is 2 sheets each. I put them out over the sides, just like that. This one is a single sheet that I'm folding over. That goes out. 2 more sheets. And you just sort of go around. Whoops, there's 2. Just go around, and here's one where I need to fold it again. So here's a single, and I'm folding, and you just drape it. So now we have all the edges inside here. All of these sheets with the edges draped over your pan, right? And I'm just going to take some of this and just kind of drizzle it. Drizzle it all over. And then this cheese mixture goes right inside. You spread this out, and then basically you're just going to wrap this up like a pretty little package. This is not a thick pie, and that's another reason that it doesn't get a soggy bottom. Because you know what I say, the only people who should have soggy bottoms are Irish peat moss farmers. That's the only place where you want one, right? So now we're just going to take this, flip it over, and you want the rest of this cheese on top. To finish it, I just take my hands, put the leftover oil in your hands. You don't want the lemon peels, but then you just take these pieces and individual sheets of phyllo. You just take these individual sheets and you just oil them up with your greasy hands. That's how you use up the rest of your oil and butter. And you have these really cool organic shapes on top. Then at the end, just to show you, I'm going to just tuck this in, tuck all of these edges down under, down into the pan, and then these crumply bits go everywhere else. And just sort of make sure that these extra pieces on top are just sort of spread everywhere evenly. You can sprinkle sesame seeds on top of this, which is a really delicious flavor. And what I do is I cut this now, because if you cut it after it's baked, it's just much harder to do. So cut it while it's still raw. So I cut it into 4 pieces this way. You can cut however many you want. This is the serving size for a main course, so these can be bigger. And then I'll do 3 across. That looks good. This will go into a 450 oven As soon as it goes in, I'm dropping the temp to 350. Well, this came out of the oven, and this took about 35 minutes. So what's nice about Spanakopita is that you can make this ahead and freeze it. So it's a nice do ahead. It feeds a crowd. It's easy to make two, you know, as long as you have all the ingredients out. You can make two at a time, very simple. So I'm just taking a knife and cutting this, just going over where I scored it the first time around. If you try to do this after it's already baked, you have this crispy mess. So this is much easier. Let me just take a piece out of here to show you. You see, it's nice and moist in here. It's not dry at all. And the bottom is crispy. It's not gloppy, and that's because we baked it in a sheet pan. Let me just cut this so you can see. Hear how crispy that is? Delicious. Nice. Just take a taste. That is really delicious. It's cheesy lemon spinach with a crispy crust, and you can see how those extra phyllo pieces come together in the top. They form that nice crispy crust. The bottom is not soggy. This is really delicious. I hope you try this recipe. If you do, please let me know. On Facebook, I'm right here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. It's free. And NinaInTheKitchen.net for the recipes. Thanks, guys. Bye.